The Social Psychology of Attitudes by Lisa Johnson. The attitude behavior consistency has been a perennial research question in the social sciences. Some research examines the effects of attitude on behavior, and some examines the effects of behavior and attitude. Attitudes and actions are very closely related and are often consistent because they influence each other in both superficial and deliberate ways. Does behavior affect attitude, or does attitude affect behavior? It's a catch-22. Attitude affects behavior, like behavior affects attitude. If we change our behavior, our attitudes will change to reflect the new behavior. If we change our attitudes, our behaviors will change to reflect the new attitude. We have programmed beliefs or thought patterns that determine our values, which affects our attitudes, which therefore determines our behaviors. There are two ways to get to the same place. The first way is to change our programmed beliefs and thought patterns and determine our values, which affects our attitudes, which therefore determines our behaviors. This process can take a long time. The second way, which is the quicker and more effective way, is if we change our behavior first. This is a more active way to take control of life circumstances, and then our attitudes will change to reflect our new behaviors. What is attitude? An attitude is a learned tendency to evaluate objects, people, or issues in a particular way. An attitude can be either positive, negative, or ambivalent. There are three components of an attitude. The cognitive component is what you think. The affective component, what you feel, and then the behavioral component, what you do about it. The cognitive component, the thoughts and conclusions about a topic or object. Example, you believe smoking is bad for your health. That type of idea is called cognitive component of attitude. Effective component. It relates to a person's feelings or emotions toward an object. There are hundreds of different emotions that humans can experience, and any one of these could be an effective component of attitude. Example, why do people still smoke when they know it is bad for their health? Then there is the behavioral component. That is, the actions we take about a certain object or topic. Example, I know smoking is bad for my health, so I do not smoke. When are your attitudes likely to influence or determine your behavior? First, you anticipate a favorable outcome or response for behaving in that way. Your attitudes are extreme or expressed often. You form your attitude through experience. You are very knowledgeable about a subject. You personally stand to gain or lose something on a specific subject. Attitudes guide behavior without much thought. When people have a well-established attitude about a certain subject, either how much they like or dislike it, it makes it easier to decide what to do, and therefore it is likely to guide the behavior. Burrhus Frederick Skinner was an American behaviorist. The next slide will tell of one of Skinner's beliefs. Skinner believed that human behavior is determined to a large extent by its consequences, and not simply through the transfer of information or advice. If people were not very environmentally conscious, few people would change their behavior based simply on the advice of others. When the quality of their life is affected by environmental problems, such as water shortage or air pollution, change can occur very quickly. The factor here for change, our behavior, is the change in attitude. Change can effectively and quickly lead to change in our behavior. Behavior is the way we act, The things we say and do, the facial expressions, hand gestures, eye contact, and word choices. We tend to behave the way we act. How behavior influences attitude. 10 years after 9/11, Americans are wrestling with their opinions of Muslims. The behaviors of what happened on 9/11 has greatly influenced the attitudes of the Americans towards Muslims. Nearly half of Americans would be uncomfortable with a woman wearing a burqa, a mosque being built in their neighborhood, or Muslim men praying in an airport. These feelings towards Muslims has caused a lot of dissonance in many people. Many people hold conflicting thoughts about Muslims. They know that only a few are responsible for the hijackings, yet because the hijackers were Muslims, many people have mixed feelings about the Muslims. People expect that all things in their mind to agree with each other. When two items in your mind disagree, dissonance occurs. The mind does not want to be in a state of dissonance, so something must happen to resolve it. Leon Festinger was an American social psychologist. He was responsible for the development of the theory of cognitive dissonance. What is cognitive dissonance? It is the feeling of uncomfortable tension, which comes from holding two conflicting thoughts in the mind at the same time. It is often strongest when we believe something about ourselves and then do something against that belief. Example, you believe cheating is wrong, yet you cheat to get a better grade. Cognitive dissonance commonly occurs in situations in which you become uncomfortably aware that your behavior and your attitudes are in conflict. It is an unpleasant state of psychological tension, which is a dissonance. It occurs when there is an inconsistency between two thoughts or perceptions, which is the cognitions. The state of dissonance is so unpleasant that we are strongly motivated to reduce it. Cognitive dissonance is greater when the decision has a greater impact on us. Example, if I were buying a new car and could not decide between two different cars, my dissonance would be greater than if I were deciding between two pairs of new jeans. Cognitive dissonance. Leon Festinger developed cognitive dissonance in the 1950s to explain how cult members were persuaded by their leader, Mrs. Keach, that on December 21st, the earth would be destroyed and that they alone would be rescued by aliens. Festinger himself had infiltrated the cult. When it did not happen, the dissonance of the thought of being so stupid was so great that instead they revised their beliefs to meet the obvious fact, because the aliens were so concerned for the cult that they saved the world instead. That is how cognitive dissonance leads to attitude change. If you can't explain your behavior, you may change your attitude so it is the same as your behavior. Thank you very much. And I have a cold, so it's very hard for me to pronunciate my words right now and talk, but thank you.